There you go, and that is us live. Thanks everyone for watching. You are watching another episode of the MMA UK live show. My name is Lewis Smith, and as always, we appreciate your support. We're going to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Fightfield, before we get started tonight, because we've got a pretty big show tonight, especially if you're Welsh. We've got the champ now, Mason the Dragon Jones, and his coach, Greg Creel. Mace, first of all, buddy, how's it going, and how are you feeling with those two belts on your shoulders?
Mate, it generally looks like I'm wearing shoulder pads, mate. Oh, we gone away. That's a good start.
Oh,
he's gone.
There
That's
you go.
internet.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi just crashed in the house.
There we go.
I'm back.
Internet.
My Wi-Fi crashed in the house when we started, so that's the Wi-Fi gone. No, good. I look like I'm wearing shoulder pads, mine, but good. Yeah, it feels unbelievable. Afterwards, I think this was the most excited and the most wound up I've ever been after a fight. Obviously, you didn't really see it in my interview afterwards, but in the cage, I was a bit all over the place, screaming at the coaches and telling some guy who was trying to wipe the blood off my nose, the in my own words, let it effing bleed. And then I swore a little bit at the camera, and just like, for me, especially in an environment like that, I never really swear in that type of environment. I'm always really calm and really relaxed. But yeah, it meant a lot, and I knew that by doing what I did, the way I did it, I knew that was my UFC ticket punched. And it's a new chapter for me, for Greg, Craig, and Lyndon, as well as my other coaches. This is a new chapter for us now.
Yeah, and Greg, been coaching Mason for a couple of years now. What was it like on Saturday? How's the nerves holding up?
Hey, Greg cried.
I did, yeah. I did cry, yeah. It's emotional, isn't it? Because it's one of those things that, that Mason had like dreamt of doing, obviously winning one title, but then obviously when he went to win the second title as well, it was like a kind of a lot of pressure on him as well. So more than myself, I kind of want him to do well. It's one of those. It's like I don't want him to kind of be a bit disheartened or put pressure on himself, but he handles it. I think he fights better when he's under pressure, if I'm honest. Anyway, when there's a big challenge in front of him, he fights a lot better. So for me, I'm never like, this was the first time I didn't feel nervous, but I felt more anxious. It was one of those ones where like all week we spent obviously 5 days in a hotel room with each other. We didn't talk about fighting. We talked about everything else other than fighting because he gets too excited. So we kind of tried to keep his mind off it a bit. But it was nice in our respect, but I was anxious obviously because it was a different weight class. We wasn't sure how Mason would deal with like the power aspect of it. We knew obviously he could dish out the power aspect like in his boxing, but we wasn't sure whether he could, you got to take that first punch and then you kind of go from there. But we got some good guys in welterweights to spar with him as well, so it wasn't too bad. He was well prepared. Yeah,
I got a feeling we've had that Blenavon Wi-Fi cut up again because he's frozen with his eyes closed, unless he just fell asleep. I don't know.
It's his Tesco's broadband, that is.
Tesco's broadband, but Greg, obviously, we've been wanting a double champion now. We said this the last couple of months before he
right. I should be back now, and that should be it. I should not go off again.
Oh. There you go, Mace. You're not back a minute. We can hear you, but we've got your face frozen on like sleep mode.
Right, hang on, man. Let me see if I can sort this now.
If you want, Mace, you can jump out and log back in. There we go.
There he is.
Right, yeah, that'll probably do it. Right.
There you go.
Right, I do apologise for technical difficulties. Apparently, Sky is incapable of sorting my Wi-Fi in the house.
Yeah, and also for everyone outside of Wales, we're up in the valleys. It is difficult to get Wi-Fi up here sometimes, so you gotta bear with us a little bit, guys. But yeah, Mace, champ. First of all, let's talk about Adam Proctor. It was a big matchup. Obviously, we saw him leading up into the matchup. He was a lot bigger. He was much bigger than I thought he wasn't going to be much bigger than you. But when I saw that face off, I was like, okay, there's a good bit of size difference here. A good bit of size difference. I mean, what was it like in there? You felt his power a little bit. You took a few shots. How did you feel in there with him?
I was walking through his shots. Like the shots, the jab he knocked me back with was more so that I pushed on into his range. It was a bit more like a spear. I mean, I walked onto his fully extended hand. So obviously that did push me back. I threw a kick I promised I wouldn't throw in the fight and timed it wrong. Completely made a balls of it and got clipped on the way through. And to be fair, the main time I really felt his power was when he was in the clinch and he put some shots in. That was when he took my back, that was when I really felt sort of the weight difference there. But like I went into that fight as a lightweight, so I was exactly the same weight going into this fight as when I normally fight a lightweight. So whether you want to believe that or not. I put about 3 kilos on after the fight, after weigh-ins. I didn't need to cut any water this time. I did all by dieting. So by the time I put the weight back on, there's only a certain amount of weight you can put back on when you just purely dieting. But I felt strong, I felt fit, and I felt dangerous, and that transferred across. And you saw the performance you did.
Did he hurt you at all, mate? Did he hurt you at all? Did he hurt you at all with any of those shots he caught you with?
No, nothing. Nothing really. I had a bleeding nose from that jab I run in, didn't do. Basically, like trying to run into a door. But that's about it. In there, it was just more so the transference when he was catching with shots was forcing me across. But yeah, I was safe all the way through. I didn't feel uncomfortable. To be fair, I was gonna sort of ease out the rest of the round and sort of because I thought it would have been a bit more of a slog. I was expecting a 2-round war and maybe a 3rd-round finish. But I remember hearing Matt Inman shouting, he's tired, he's slowing down, push on to him. So just to prove a point, I decided to push on at him again, and that was when obviously the slip jab, slip cross hook went through and landed flush.
Yeah, they played. Greg, from a coach's perspective, did it go according to plan for you?
Yeah, well, we planned for any outcome for this. I think I honestly thought get the first round out the way and then Mesa could out wrestle Adam because we went really heavy wrestling in the camp. And I thought we kind of discussed it and you just done that little laugh that you just done then. But I honestly thought the later rounds it went on, the more tight he got and he could have out wrestled him. But a big props to Lyndon as well on his boxing because Mason works a lot with Lyndon, and halfway through the fight you can hear Lyndon shouting chuck a left hook on the end of that cross. And he did, like literally 30 seconds later, he put a left hook because me and Lyndon was talking. I said he's just a little bit short with that right cross. So Lyndon shouted chuck a left hook on it, and all camp we've been banging on about this left hook. And Mason's like, oh, I don't know. I said, I'm telling you. And Lyndon was saying the same thing. He's got a beautiful left hook, and it's not a left hook where it's like it powered through. It's just a pure left hook where it just connects, and that was just the shot that put him away. So he was big props to Lyndon for that as well, down in Pontypool Boxing that Mason works with as well. So that was that's props to him really.
Yeah. What does this mean for the gym as well, Greg? So obviously you've been building up in Celtic Pride now. I was lucky enough to come down and watch a couple of the sessions where you just had some absolute killers on the mat going at it together. What does it mean now to get not only a champ but a double champ from your gym? How does that kind of inspire the rest of the guys?
It's always good. Obviously, it's brilliant. It's brilliant for Mason more than anything. That like the gym always does well in our respect. We always knew that someone would do something big. We've not got the biggest MMA team in the world. We haven't got an abundance of guys that we can troll out multiple fights all year round. We know that. But I kind of like a smaller team where we can focus on like more individual practices. We've gone now to the point where we've got a lot more guys coming up and we utilize them for sparring and stuff, which is brilliant for Mason. Brilliant for guys.
The Wi-Fi's gone down completely. Sorry, guys, keep going. My folks to ask why it froze on camera, and it's like, well, the Wi-Fi is actually terrible.
It's a lovely picture. It's a lovely picture.
It's a nice picture there. It makes you end sleeping this time.
Honestly, the Wi-Fi, right? It's been working perfect all week. All week, I did an interview with Pete Carroll, went perfect. I've done 2 interviews, and as soon as it's like Lewis Smith online, they're like, "Yeah, no, that's going."
That's what it is.
You were talking in fast forward on mine a minute ago. I could hear you talking like 100 miles an hour. I thought I was having a conversation with myself.
Yeah, it's because I'm only in blind. There it is. Look, we ain't far enough away for it to connect. I don't think, but it's all good. It wouldn't be all right if we went 100% right. So we're gonna have a little bit of a technical issue somewhere. I think
nothing's ever straightforward when Mason's involved. That's don't worry about that.
Oh no, don't go throwing stuff like that around.
So, Mace, what's next for you now, buddy? You've got 2 belts wrapped around your shoulders. Cage Warriors lightweight, Cage Warriors welterweight champion. Where do you see yourself next? I know you've answered this already, but just for the people, the MMA UK fans, what's your plans?
To be fair, I want a fast turnaround. If I could fight anywhere between, obviously, the next 3 to 5, maybe 3 to 8 weeks, that'd be perfect for me. I'm back in the gym. I literally was back in the gym on Monday. I took no damage. I did 4 minutes of work. So to be fair, because there was no water cut, I wasn't mentally drained. Because I always find that after a water cut, you're mentally drained more than anything. It takes a while for your brain chemistry to reset. But I felt good. Remember, we got back to the actual hotel and they ordered pizzas, and I had about 3 slices of pizza and said, "Look, I'm done. I want to get back on the diet." So it was 3 slices and a muffin, actually, and a.
There was gluten-free pizzas as well. It's the worst pizzas that you can ever order. It was like doing sand. It was shocking, honestly.
Yeah. So for people
had.
who don't know, I'm a celiac, so wheat actually like almost kills me. So that's another reason I like healthy eating. So yeah, so I'm back in the diet. I'm back in camp. I'm back running. This week's been a light week, to be honest, just sort of carry me over. I need to sort a new gum shield out and a couple of different things, and really we're going to push hard from Sunday, I think. So yeah, I'm ready to get my head down now and really push. And I'm going to treat the Adam Proctor fight as basically what it was, which is basically like sparring for me. Do you know what I mean? I've had harder sparring matches in that fight. So I want a challenge. I've asked for this in how many times. So hopefully the UFC is going to provide me with one. And you'll actually see what I can do, because like I don't get nervous. I don't panic. I don't get stressed. I don't get flustered. Like even in my entire fight career, the only person who sort of made me even a little bit uncomfortable was Casper Famella, and you look how that turned out for him. That was probably one of the best finishes of my career so far. So, do you know what I mean? The better my opposition, the better version of me you'll see. I remember Greg woke me up for this fight to start warming up. Like that's how relaxed I am. So it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where. I just want to be challenged. So, do you know what I mean? A fast turnaround against a high-level opponent would really sort of push it for me. Get one more in, and then maybe we could fit another one in before Christmas, or at least one more fight would be perfect. So I want to make my debut, and I want to set myself on the map and really sort of capitalize on how good this year has been for me. So one big debut in the UFC now, that would really sort of capitalize the year, and hopefully send Greg into cardiac arrest.
That's what I was going to say, Greg. What's it like coaching this guy? Because he's always switched on, isn't he? Always wants to fight.
I don't want to swear, but it's fucking hard work. It's craft. It takes your energy out for sure, but it's fun at the same time, you know, because it doesn't mentally drain you coaching him, because everything's kind of like A, B, and C. Do A, B, and C, and it's done, you know, and that's a good thing about it. So it's not mentally draining at all. Physically draining, trying to calm him down is the hardest thing in the world, because I'm a little bit more chilled out than Mason. He's on cloud 9 up there, and I'm just getting out of bed every day. Do you know what I mean? So
is that how this works? Is that how this relationship works between you two? That you're quite different in that respect, I suppose.
Yeah, Craig's the same, and Lyndon's a little more like Mason. I expect he's a little bit crazy, but Craig's kind of the same as well. Craigie was a little bit more chilled out. But we got to be, I think, if we was all on the same level, God knows what would happen. We'd be fighting Brock Lesnar next weekend. If we was all the same.
Yeah. Greg, as a coach, would you
after this fight, Lou, after this fight,
he's gone again.
After this fight, obviously there's a bit of there's a delay between us. There is, I think it's a 2-second delay. So after this fight, I text Graham and said, let me know when the UFC gets back to you. I said, because at the moment, Fredericks is looking a little bit too big, but that could change.
Have you had any phone calls from Mace? Any phone calls from Graham, from any of the UFC guys at all?
Nothing so far.
Nothing so far. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Obviously, we've got these Fight Island cards. I think Jack has been announced to fight in Vegas as well. So it could be one of those cards coming up for you. Do you think is that of interest to you?
Oh, definitely. Sorry, my phone again playing up. It's doing my head in. Yeah, Fight Island is where I want to be. Vegas obviously looks good, but like the Fight Island cards are around now, and you never really know about for like this time next year, they could never do them again. So I definitely want to get on Fight Island. I want to earn that Reebok tracksuit for the end of the year, and I mean that is going to come the probably the best career year so far. So yeah, debut against high level opponent and really cement myself in UFC as an upcoming challenger. That's what I want, and that's probably what's going to work out.
Yeah, Greg, is there any names on your list for Mason, or is it just wherever the UFC offers at the minute?
Yeah,
Do you think?
we don't really talk
I got
names
some
because
names.
no matter who they put across, no matter who they put across the table to you, you'll sign it anyway. It's regardless. That's a given. You know, he's never ever turned the fight down. There's been multiple fight changes, and that's not obviously due to Mason's fault. That's due to injuries, due to people not being getting visas or etc. It's just one of those logistic things that happens. But he's never actually turned the fight down. And I don't even know why he asked us, because he says, I'm going to ask my coaches, and we know it's going to be a yeah anyway. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, there's no names from me, and I'd like to kind of get Mason's feelings on it. But I don't think that he's, when you get the UFC, you're not really in that position to kind of call names out. You've got to kind of start again, you know. And that's the one thing that I tell Mason, and that's one thing he knows as well. We are starting again. You know, we all get back on a new bus. We get back on a new bus, and we're starting to travel again. You know, so it's one of those things.
The way I've been explaining it is that we've taken the training wheels off now. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no more opportunities of where you can make a little mistake and sort of still pull the fight back without being a road bump. You make a little mistake now and a fight's over for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're all sharks. You're in deep water now. So obviously there's a lot of names I'd like to fight. Again, I don't see people are on about like, you're going in undefeated. There's big names you could have. Like, how do you handle the pressure? And I just don't get it. Like, the worst thing that could happen to me is like I go in there and have a bad day and lose. And that just doesn't bother me. Like, if I lose, we'll just rebuild and we go again. Like, it's easy to say, and obviously, like, you're gonna have to kill me to get me out there, because even if I'm having the worst day in the world, I'm still gonna come at you and I'm still gonna try and take your chin off. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't. It does. I'm afraid. There's no pressure. I'm just excited. Like, I'm excited to start new things, to move on, to actually start getting paid properly and be able to support the team a bit more, and actually sort of see these guys get the more sort of the sort of gains and the reputation they deserve. Like I've been saying since day one about how good my corner team is with Lyndon, with Greg, with Craig, and like when I see these other guys and decisions other teams are making, and it baffles me how they've got such high reputations for the stuff they do, and it's still amateur hour, where we've always handled ourselves as professionals. Like, I've never missed a weigh-in. I've never missed weight. I've never had to actually have a second chance of making weight. There's never been a problem with my medicals. Everything's always been on time. My contract's always gone back within the allotted time. There's never been a problem with us because we handle it as a professional team should. Everyone's always up to date. If the coaches need something sorted, it's sorted. Even when we had all that snow, like we was in that, I paid for a hotel in Cardiff for me and one of my coaches so that we were there. We were making weight in a hotel so that we were there, because this is a professional sport. There's no time for amateur hour at all.
Yeah. No, I think that might, I don't know if you would agree with this, Greg, but is that part of something you said? You've got a smaller team with the MMA side of things. Is that part of the benefits of having a small team, is that you are a lot more focused on getting the job done?
Mason assembled the team himself. Like, you know, Mason was training with me, but there was no like guarantees that I was going to be his jiu-jitsu coach or anything like that. He assembled his team himself, you know, and
so like Batman.
Yeah. And do you know what I mean? That's one of the things he's kind of good at. He travels around, he gets his boxing in, he gets his Thai boxing in with Stephen Gifford, who trains out of Celtic Pride and teaches. He's a main Thai boxing coach. Reece Jones does his weight cut, strength and conditioning. Lyndon does his boxing. Carl Betty does his taekwondo and kicks and stuff. He always covers every little area.
Craig.
And that kind of Craig, yeah, we've mentioned Craig as well. But that's one thing that comes from each individual coach as well. Like, you know, Lyndon is not going to turn around and be his jiu-jitsu coach, and I'm not going to turn around and be his boxing coach. It's not going to happen. So this is why we kind of assembled this team, and we got like a close-knit kind of thing. And not just that, now we got the Thai boxers that we are pushing towards Lyndon. We got some of the MMA guys as well. We're pushing down towards Craig, and vice versa. Craig is pushing guys up towards us, and it just works brilliantly. So there'll be a couple more guys that you'll see us in the corner with over the next couple of years. That's a dead cert. Just the way we operate, if you know what I mean, and that's the way we like to do things.
Yeah,
the combination works. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone works together. Even obviously the way Craig and Greg are sort of quite cross platforms on certain things. They work together really well, and like especially with Lyndon stuff, because Lyndon is a fantastic coach. He's slightly quiet in certain aspects of things, and like whenever there's that time where there's that question of sort of Greg me not being able to hear Lyndon, then Greg will always make sure that no matter like if it's good information, is getting shared.
Yeah, fair play.
You're the loudest, that's why.
Yeah, I've got some questions coming in from Facebook, mate. So I'm going to read them off to you. I've got Bare Knuckle Boxing is asking, do you ever fancy bare knuckle one day? They say you have the face for it.
I have got the face for it. I got the nose, but yeah, no, bare knuckles not for me. I don't think. I've seen literally the mess Sean George made of his last opponent, and do you know what I mean? I'm not interested in that. I'll stick to little MMA gloves.
There you go. Bare Knuckle Boxing, thanks for the question. He's got the face for it, but he's sticking to MMA. MMA Fitness is asking, who's been your toughest opponent to date?
Oh, I'd say Adam. Yeah. Even though it's obviously you wouldn't see that. It's probably a cross between Adam and Desme. Desme was dangerous, so I stayed away from him and outboxed him. But obviously Adam, he was a big guy, good wrestling and very strong, but I knocked him out. So this is just, I said my last fight, Desme, Joe, and Adam are my best fights. It shows how much I've improved because I should have finished Desme. I got the other two done. So
yeah. MMA Funny is asking, do you ever trash talk, and what is your best line?
Do you know what? I'd love to get some trash talk in with someone, like especially if someone sort of gives it a bit. But everyone's really friendly with me. I think they sort of realize that it's going to be a mad fight anyway, so they don't really need to. Best line, I don't know. I'm not that clever when it comes to witty remarks and stuff. I probably throw something really Welsh.
The best one you come up with was the effing tyrant one that you ate.
Uh-huh.
I'm the bloody fucking tyrant. That's the best thing. I don't know where it comes from. I have no clue. It's just come out. It was just one of those things, and I love it. I think it's brilliant. That's what looking at the camera and saying, "Ah, it's awesome." I love shit like that. You know, it's brilliant. But he don't like it.
Funny.
What
you ever come up with?
Is that just the adrenaline, or?
I didn't know where it was. I thought it was Tuesday at the time. I was just literally on cloud nine. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't expect that fight to go that quick.
Yeah. Greg, question for you from Peter Knox. He's asking, any coaches that you look up to and inspire to be like?
Pedro Bessa. Simple as that. Yeah.
If I
can get anywhere near the caliber of Pedro Bessa, I'll die happy, man.
There you go. And we've got another one. We've got Colin Merriweather. I'll read this one out. He's saying, hi, Mason. Go get that UFC strap. Now it's there for the taking, bud. Call. So big shout out, Colin.
Thanks, Cole. He fair play. He always drops you a message and before fights and always wishes me well. So lovely to hear off you again, Cole, and all the best. There
we go. And Peter Knox again asking, I'll give this one to Greg. If you could change one rule in MMA, what would it be?
The elbows. The 12-6 elbows is always something that comes up. That's always something that fighters, you see them hesitant to throw an elbow in a certain position. And you always see like that look at the referee, like, am I okay throwing this in the middle of a fight is just stupid. If they just change that rule, you can elbow someone in the face regardless, The 12-6 is just a little bit suspect, when it comes to the rules. I see why it's there. I can see why the rule is there. But if you're in a single leg position against the fence and you can kind of back elbow someone in the side of the head, then the 12-6 is irrelevant in my opinion.
So you would get rid of the 12-6 rule, would you?
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
There's the strike crown on the head, obviously, where you can't strike through behind the line of the ear and around the crown. So that's as long as they keep that rule into place, and the 12-9 rule just needs to go, because you can strike the top of the head anyway. Do you know what I mean? I can drop punches down and I can kick you in the head when you get into your feet. So why can't I drop an elbow down?
Yeah. No,
I don't think you'll have any fighter that will disagree with you, really, because they can all utilize that rule. You know what I mean? They can all use the same weapons as you. So I don't think you'll have any fighter that will disagree with you.
Yeah. Mace, anything to add? Any rules you'd like to change?
Soccer kicks. I definitely have like to fight with soccer kicks allowed.
Like the one champion.
Yeah, there's like with Adam on the weekend when I closed in. As he was sort of getting back to his feet, obviously he went from being 4 posted to 2 posts. From 6 posts to 4 posts which means 2 hands and 2 feet on the ground, which meant I could have kicked. But you're so hesitant to throw it now because you don't want to. You're always unsure, are they grounded or are they at now? Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them things. So yeah, solid kicks would be a bit of fun. It'd make it sort of change the wrestling aspect of it. And I think it gives people more sort of encouragement to get back to their feet when people are throwing kicks at their head.
Good questions here, guys. Greg, I just wanted to ask you as well. Obviously, you're one of the main coaches down at Celtic Pride down at Abertleary. What, for people who don't know, live outside of Wales, Blaenau Gwent, where we live, is on lockdown again now. What does that mean for you guys in the gym now? Obviously, Mason, he's had a great camp throughout lockdown, 2 great camps throughout lockdowns, really. What does that mean for the gym now and sort of preparations moving forward?
Lock the doors.
I'm a pro, so I'm legally allowed in the gym. So it is.
Yeah, we've got like, obviously we got everything in place. We're not stupid about our training at all. And if I'm honest with you, we haven't had an issue over this whole COVID period. We had to kind of truck on with Mason because obviously we knew he wanted to fight. So we needed to get guys in to train. We got the guys tested. We got the guys ready to spar. You know, we wasn't stupid around it. We didn't just say let's open the doors and let's train. Is a grey area, you know. You want the guys to train, but you also want everyone to be safe at the same time. It's kind of one of those things when you're a coach and when you own an academy, you've got to split your mind in two. As a coach, you just want everyone to train and everyone to have a good camp, you know. But when you own an academy, then you want nothing to go wrong, you know. So it's kind of one of those things. We're quite selective on the guys that we are bringing in at the moment, and we are being pretty switched on, you know. So we're not putting anyone at risk at the same time. But it's just, you know, everyone's all over the shop, and you know, if you've got an academy, 1 week everything's cool, and then the next week, then you've got a pile of legislations that you've got to try and bring in, you've got a pile of protocols that you've got to try and get through. It's so difficult. But we get.
At the moment, Greg?
Pardon?
Frustrating at the moment with all the different changes so often.
It is frustrating. It's more frustrating because you've got to try and let everyone know. You know, we've got up to 200 members at the moment that we've got to try and get the message across to, and it's really difficult. But from a camp point of view, if it did come to the way we closed down, then we would get a select amount of guys in again, 15, 16 guys, and we'd all pile through. It wouldn't be no issue. We've got the UK PGA got allowed us to get the pros back into train through the COVID period anyway, so we can just kind of revert back to that again, and we'll just go back through again.
Yeah, no, fair play. And mates, I mean, from a fighter's perspective, is there any sort of extra pressure on you, or is that all the burden of that all carried by Greg and the coaches in this instance?
Like without sounding a bit like obviously selfish, like it's not my responsibility to sort that. Like fair play, Greg handles that for me really well, and like to be fair, I've got a really good group of coaches. Like we said about this as being my personal team, and that's what works really well is because like with Reese, with Craig, with Greg, with Carl, they're all so flexible about things that even when we went into lockdown after the Manchester fight, Carl was straight back in the gym with me, making sure there was at least one coach in there. Then Giff was straight in the gym, making sure that he was helping with everything. He could pad for me a bit more. We mix levels, and Greg was like, look, as soon as I'm legally allowed, we'll be back. Because obviously for them, striking exchanges, we could get away with it a bit more. It was a bit more of a grey area, but when you do jiu-jitsu, you're sweating in each other's face. Do you mean you have to follow the rules? And to be fair, between Craig and Greg, they're so stringent. Like I'm fed up again, my temperature tested, and having having to do symptom check sheets and every other bloody sort of rule they've brought into place to keep us as safe as possible. And my training partners are all good. Like if any of my training partners where you're pushing hard in camp, if you don't feel good, like one of my training partners we've been pushing really hard, training really hard. He didn't feel well, so he went and got COVID tested and stayed clear until the results come back. And like we said, we haven't had one slip up or one positive test in the gym. Everyone's been perfect and everyone's been pushing through, and we haven't had any slip ups because they're following these regulations that Greg and Craig's put into place, and that we're sort of we're following stringent as possible protocols. And it's just one of the things, like I have to fight. I'm gonna fight whether we train properly or not, and if I have to, do you know what I mean? Then like we said, we'll just go close doors. But like between Greg, Craig, and Lyndon, like these are like Craig. Greg's got another full-time job, but he still runs the academy out of his own pocket. Craig runs his class. That's his full-time job, and Lyndon's job is he's a boxing coach. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is their livelihoods, and it's something that they put years and years into. So for them to be at risk just because of one illness, there's only killing a very slim percentage of the population is a horrible subject to sort of talk about, but it's there. Do you know what I mean? So it's difficult for everyone, and I'm just going to be happy when we see the other side of it, so that these guys can actually sort of go back to our vision of normality.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy that we've obviously had such a crazy time. You know, unheard of, really. If you said this a year ago, like we'd be in lockdown and doing this all the time, you definitely wouldn't have believed it. But at the same time, during that period, you've got 2 Cage Warriors belts, and
yeah, it's probably the Mason's the only one who's benefited from this.
It has been a positive side of it as well. But one thing you touched on there, Mace, was speaking about Greg, and I think what I did want to ask at the start of this, which I didn't get around to at the beginning, was because Greg doesn't. You kind of know that kind of coach who really chases the limelight or really, puts yourself out there that much. So for people who are not so familiar with you when you're coaching, how did you get started in all this, Greg? 'Cause you've been obviously you're black belt in jiu-jitsu. You've been around for a long time. How did you get started in all the MMA coaching?
Well, I started a couple of years ago. Well, to be honest, I started in jiu-jitsu, coaching and mainly just to get sparring partners. I was quite selfish, I was training in Bristol a couple of times a week, but I was also wanted to train when I was back home. So the only reason I started teaching was for that aspect anyway. And then I obviously got guys who wanted to do groundwork. The year I was down training in Bristol, and I was, a bit more experienced than what was around here at the time. And they just started to naturally come training. But we used to do like camps, and we used to have Nagy, Tim Newman, and guys like I used to come in, and we used to do Friday camps. My brother, yeah. Nice one, Bomb. But yeah, we used to have like training camps and stuff like that, and that's how I started more like Russ Smith and guys like this, and Frankie, and they were like the older guys who used to kind of be around the circuit in Welsh MMA. And we used to get a little group together, and we used to train a couple of times a week through the MMA, and it just kicked on from there, really. But I never really pushed coaching MMA, if I'm honest with you. It's just something that's naturally developed now over the last couple of years again, and it's guys who want to, in the academy, who want to kind of turn their interest to MMA more. They've got we've got pro Thai boxers who's going to go MMA in the next 18 months, and it's going to be
dangerous people.
They blue belts in jiu-jitsu now, and they're rolling really well. Lewis Pugh is one that's going to do really well. And not just that, it's like their attitude. They're learning off Mason. The attitude as well is super important for me. They're learning off guys like Mason. He's in the room and he's plugging away, and they're looking at him and thinking he's achieved all this by doing A, B, and C. I need to do A, B, and C myself, So it's working, We've got a lovely little blend. It's working. We're not going to be, and I'm never going to kind of have like a super team where we're going to take over the world, but we'll have a group of guys who will make a lot of damage, in the next couple of years, that's for sure.
Yeah, hey, I'm going to take over the world one day, G. You'll see me run this country.
Yeah. It's great as well, because you've got such a small area when you think of like, obviously Tulare Combat down in Abertillery, guys just rolled, gym over in Blenavon as well. Like, for such a small area, it's an amazing amount of fighters.
I'm honest, it's like South Wales is the capital, the fight capital of the world, I think. Don't worry about Vegas now. South Wales is the fight. If you could come into South Wales tomorrow and put a show on with just literally all the guys from 3 gyms, that's a dead cert. You could do that easy. Like, it's so many guys that are training around South Wales at the moment. Is even spread like a little further afield, and you look at like Lou Long and guys like that, there's some gyms here, and look at the caliber of guys that we got as well in Wales. Jack Shaw, Marshman, Mason. Then you got Lou Long, Alan Khalid, Brett Johns. You just reel names off. Whereas maybe 3-4 years ago, these guys were just cutting their teeth in MMA. Do you know what I mean? They was just getting started, and then 4 years later, look what's happened. It's crazy, and I dread to think where it's going to be in another 4 years.
Yeah, guys, you've mentioned 2 names there, Greg. First of all, Lewis Long, who fought tonight. I just want to give him a big shout out because
massive win, brilliant win.
Win on Bellator with a knee in the first round. So big shout out Lou Long there. And also the second guy I wanted to talk to you about was a guy who's obviously in the welterweight division, Aaron Khalid. He got a massive win at Cage Warriors. I'll come to you first, Mace. Do you think he gets you get the call to UFC? He gets the next shot of that belt. Do you think?
Oh, definitely. Like, he was calling for this belt before the fight. We spoke about it. He was actually the first guy I rang after my own coaching team. I rang Aaron and said, literally, like I said, look, they've offered me a fight against Adam Proctor for the welterweight strap. Are you okay with it? And I said, obviously, I don't want to take that fight if it's in your way. And he said, look, I'm coming off a loss. I'm going to build myself back up, and then I'm going to be in title contention. And to go out there and choke a guy out in 30 seconds, that got to put you in title contention. Like who else is there? Adam Proctor's obviously just got battered. He's not there. There's the Figlax, but the Figlac, the bigger Figlac, he's sort of like he's what, 6-0. His record's quite short. So and Aaron is literally the next guy. Aaron is going to be pushing for that vacated title. I don't know who they get him to fight for it, but definitely, as soon as I'm gone, I can see Aaron fighting for that welterweight strap, and he more than deserves it.
Yeah, I think definitely. But so big shout out to both those guys. We had Aaron on the show last week, and obviously Lou, we're going to try and get him on next week because that was a good win tonight. Greg, MMA women are asking any Welsh women we should be looking out for at the minute.
Corey McKenna is one that's just gone into the UFC, and she's
pushing hard.
She's pushing hard. She's going to kill. I was talking to Jack Mason when we was up in Cage Warriors, and he was excited, obviously, for her to make her debut as well in the UFC in the full card. She did fight on the contenders. As far as women's MMA in Wales, I think women's MMA is where Welsh MMA was probably 5 years ago. It's just going to start to take a little bit of developing, but I know we haven't got no women per se that was going to come through. We got some girls that are training, but whether they're going to turn to MMA, I'm not sure. But I'm sure there's other gyms that got some girls coming through. But I think what we'll see is a natural development in the next couple of years where we got kids training now at that young age. And there's a mix of like a lot of girls and boys. So when they get maybe 16, 17, they may turn to like Thai boxing, MMA, and they may transfer a lot easier. We'll see that happening, I think, in the next 10 years. I think so.
MMA is just a growing sport as it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you compared the top of the tree fighters in UFC to UFC fighters 10 years ago, I generally do not think that any of those fighters who were going down as some of the greatest of all time, I don't think they get out of the second round. That's my personal opinion. I always think the sports advance.
Well, if you look at I think if you look at the Europeans as well now, like I don't think Europeans and everyone outside of the US, I think Stipe is the only American champion at the moment. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure, but I think Stipe is the only one. If you go down
ancestry, because
John Jones,
Usman is now Nigerian now. So
Usman's Nigerian now.
So I don't know. You can say Usman is one, but I think every champ. You know what I mean? So that's
who's got the flyweight title now.
What's his name?
Who?
The Brazilian.
Figueiredo.
Figueiredo. He's fighting.
Petr Yan is bantam, isn't he? So you work your way up. I think everyone's outside except for Stipe. So
yeah, you're right.
That's how deep is going in, and Europe as well, and it's
to be fair,
bigger.
Quick shout out because obviously Figueiredo is going to lose his belt soon against Cody Garbrandt. Big shout out to Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, Cody Garbrandt stepping down, isn't he? That's crazy.
Bang him out.
What's it like training over with Cody? Mace, you've worked with him a little bit, haven't you? What's it like?
So quick backstory: the first day I turned up to Team Alpha Male, I was obviously 4 years ago. I was 21, I think. Young, moving on to a mat full of killers. I remember that Uriah grabbed me, give me a quick introduction, and introduced me to Cody, who literally introduced himself by saying, "Hi, I'm Cody Garbrandt." This was just after he'd won the UFC world title.
Yeah, I know.
He put his arm around me, dragged me onto the mats, and introduced me to everyone. So that just shows like the sort of the caliber of the guy and like how nice he is. Like he just won the biggest MMA award at the time. Do you mean like the accolade? And there was this blonde nobody who walked in, and he decided to take his time to introduce me to everyone and sort of make my life easier just because he could. Like, he's such a lovely guy and he works so hard. And after that fight and after he sort of lost, I think he took it quite hard and he sort of needed to find his route a little bit more. And obviously it showed in his performances. But I think now he's sort of sorted his camp out, his head seems to be really on top of it, and he's really pushing hard and he found his hunger again. So I can really see this being one of his top performances to date.
Yeah, it's a big fight for him, and I think he's probably making the right move stepping down as well, to be honest, because he's not huge for that weight class, is he? So
I've seen his cardio's gone to the roof. Like, he's cycling so much at the moment to make sure his weight's down. So I think he'll be in a fantastic position in this fight.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's switched up his camp now as well, hasn't he? I think he trains over in
he does both, New York,
yeah, with Eddie Alvarez and that whole team. So it's not a bad switch to make, to be fair. Just in terms of going back to Wales, Mesa, and I'll ask this one to you as well, Greg, so I know I don't want to keep you too long, but what does it mean, obviously, now for you to get those two belts and really represent not only your hometown of Glenavon, but the whole country, and kind of be at the tip of that spear? Obviously, you've got like Jack Shaw, Marshman, and a couple of guys in the UFC, but you're right there up there with them with our achievement now. And what does it mean?
Easy way to say it would be you just need to watch what I'm going to do, because I'm going to tear through the UFC now. That's just what I'm going to do. Like, obviously all the boys have set their own routes and they're making their own journeys, and I'm just going to do my thing and literally just try and set everything on fire. So I just want to be exciting, and this is the way I sort of want to set it up. And I'm like I said, I'm going to try and give Greg a heart attack. So I can't wait to get in there and start sort of doing my sort of thing and being my own person. And like, I really can't get over. I genuinely thought when I accepted this fight for the welterweight title, it didn't really mean anything to me. It was just another fight. And then afterwards, the sort of significance that really settled in, and everyone's reactions to it's been so insane. And being, like, I explained it so much before, that this was a legacy fight for me. Like, I've cemented my legacy now. Like, there was genuine talk in town of them trying to put a statue up of me in town, and it's just sort of like, it's made me laugh so much, because like the sort of the feedback I've had off everyone I'm speechless. Do you know what I mean? Like, I genuinely didn't realize I had that many people supporting me and that many people were wanting to see me succeed. Whether any of those were wanting to see me fail as well, and they can keep watching, it's going to take a little while. I think they're going to be waiting a long time for that. But like I said, it's just been fantastic, and it made me quite emotional in there, which you saw, and obviously it meant a lot to my coaching team as well. So it was a perfect way to end my Cage Warriors career. I've hung my Cage Warriors gloves up for the time being, so I'm ready to put some UFC gloves on and really start to step up my game.
Yeah, how's that for a send off? If that is the last time, which we all assume it is at this point. How's that for a send off from UFC from Cage Warriors, Greg?
Oh, it's awesome, isn't it? All his fights was in Cage Warriors, and he started from obviously the prelims and worked his way up to the main events. So it's been like everything that we asked for, really, from him. But we had a conversation when after like his first 2 or 3 fights, and he said to us, I want to be entertaining, I want to be someone who's putting people away. So in Cage Warriors, that was like his kind of hunting ground, just to keep putting people away, be entertaining. He's going to take risks. It is going to happen, and that's what he's going to do. But he's got it in his arsenal as well to be super clean, and that's what you're going to see in the UFC. You're going to be like a polished, like, I read like a lot of the comments online, and you see people, oh, you'll never survive in the UFC. Like, honestly, you watch how clean he's going to be in the UFC, because the Cage Warriors, he could get away with being not reckless, but a little bit more entertaining, just to build his brand a little bit more, you know what I mean? And just keep putting people away, keep being entertaining, keep putting these highlight reels out there for people to watch. But when he gets to the UFC, he's going to be super clean. He's going to be clinical as well. So it's going to be exciting, because we can kind of focus more technically now, moving forward. So it's going to be good for us as well. As coaches, we're going to learn a lot.
Talking to the UFC, we had a pretty big card on Saturday, Greg. I don't know if you got a chance to see, but do you watch Adesanya and Costa? What do you think of that fight?
I did watch Adesanya. I did. To be honest with you, I had that noob head on. I had that, like, if Conor has that left hand, is game over kind of head on.
Yeah.
if Costa rushed him and kind of gone inside him and started to make it a dirty fight because of the Kelvin Gastelum fight. I kind of had that in the back of my head as well. The Gastelum rushed forward and kind of tagged him and wouldn't let Izzy get on the back foot and counter box. But it just Costa looked off to me. It looked something that, Izzy done a fucking great job. Don't get me wrong. He was landing those low leg kicks. He was stabbing. He was just keeping him at range, keeping him in kicking distance. But Costa just looked like he was just puzzled, and I think that's what
Adesanya didn't get out of first gear.
Yeah, Adesanya I think he just puzzles people. I think he just his constant movement of not letting Costa settle was impressive for me, because if you stand in front of someone like Costa, they're going to bull rush you, and you know that. But Adesanya just kept moving at distance, kept cutting angles, and wouldn't let him settle. I think that's what done him to the point where he just thought, well, I'm done. Yeah, movement kills.
What really confused me, which I really didn't understand, was when Costa played the first round out, it was just his lack of ability to adapt, because obviously planting his feet and trying to draw Adesanya on wasn't working. He was eating leg kicks and trying to tell Adesanya they weren't hurting, and he sort of tried bull rushing him once or twice. But obviously, as the later rounds got on, that was going to be, which it did. Costa was unable to put weight on his front leg, so his game plan was trash. And then when he got back to his corner was so full of yes men, telling him, "Yeah, this is what we want to do. You're doing the right thing." And it's like if I got back to my corner, I would expect, and this is why my relationship with my coaches work well, them to sit me down and say, "Look, that's not working, let's switch to plan B. And if plan B doesn't work, when we've already got a plan C in place." We break fights down so much that know exactly how we're going to win and exactly how. Like the fight with Adam.
Yeah, I was going to say, like the Adam fight as well. I think people look at that as like a typical Mason performance, but we worked on southpaw. If he come out southpaw, we had Mason had combinations for southpaw. If he come out orthodox, Mason had his combination set for orthodox. If he wrestled, we knew what he was doing when he was wrestling. We knew everything. We was prepared, and Mason was prepared for everything. So I think like a detailed game plan isn't always the ideal, being detailed, because if you get deviated from there, but having plan A, B, and C in place is probably
always refer back to.
Is probably the perfect scenario. I've seen guys like with a game plan, and once that don't work, they just wilt and they think, "Fuck, what am I going to do now?" But if you've got an A, B, and C, you can always go back to something. You can always fight to get to that position, So that's one thing that we work on a lot.
Yeah, no, good insight. To be fair, like I was kind of what Mason said. He got tuned up in the first round and came out and just did the same thing again. So he was almost waiting for that knockout to come at that point, I thought. But here we are. Israel Adesanya still the champ. Just quickly as well, another champ as well was in the light heavyweight division. Obviously, Jan Blachowicz.
That really went under the radar on a lot of people, didn't it?
Yeah,
crazy.
I didn't expect him to win that, Mace. What do you think of that one?
I'm just shocked with the body kick he landed, which literally blew an hole in his side. Like, I'd never seen a mark come out that quick. Like, I don't know what they're doing to his feet out there. They must have stuck some Semtex to his foot, because he kicked him and then he blew it. Like, genuinely nearly blew a hole in his ribs, and he made Reyes look poor. So whatever they've been doing over in Poland, fair play to him, because Blachowicz really did earn his stripes, so to speak. But that fight really slipped under the radar for me. Like, so many people were on about the Adesanya Costa fight that it just sort of didn't get the attention it deserved. And I'm hoping now that on Jan's next fight, they really do sort of big him up a little bit more, and he sort of gets more attention.
Yeah, Greg, you're going to be putting Mason on those foot conditioning drills now, ready for the.
I'll leave out the GIF. GIF can sort that
out. Just condition my shins, kicking him in the head.
Can get his shins in that condition, but I'll just I'll roll around on the floor with him all day.
Yeah.
Or wrestle.
Yeah.
So, guys, I just want to first of all say a big thank you for coming on tonight. Obviously, it's always great to chat. I think we could probably go on for another couple of hours the way we talk on. Yeah. But, mate, just lastly, you've got a huge fan base down here. How much does the support mean, and what's a message to your fans now after becoming a champ?
Like I said, I tried explaining earlier how much it means to me. I've really been struggling to put into words. Like the amount of messages I had. Like I think total, I replied probably just under 5,000 messages. And my phone was that bad in the end that me and Mad were taking in shifts to read messages and reply. So I've replied to every single message I've seen. There's Facebook comments I've missed, but obviously you'll have to let me slide on that when I've tried to reply or at least like every single comment. Everyone's sport's been immeasurable, but it really means a lot to us as a team, and it really does sort of show exactly how far we've come from the days where I was fighting and people just didn't even know who I was or what I could do. So again, massive shout out, massive thank you. Obviously, I got support sponsors who supported. Tatami's a big one. PP Builders, CCS Scaffolding, Precision Hydration. I've really been. I always smash into me. They're big shout out. SD Sealants is a big one. I'd probably missing some. I forget. Candle Talent was a massive supporter, so big thank you for that. Like all these guys have supported for long periods of time, and then obviously some of the ones who come on board for this fight was Christy Raby Masseuse Massage, Christy Raby Massages. I can't say the full thing. God, there's another one I'm completely forgetting. MD Body Coach, Isolate, and there's Protect or Pro something. I forgot the one, but anyway. But big shout out to everyone for who sponsored and supported, and it just makes it easier for us. So now we're getting to that place where eventually we'll be on the big screen, and you can see us fighting in Vegas and Abu Dhabi, and it's coming. You know what I mean? And we just gotta get prepared for it. And like I said, I'm back in camp. I'm back working hard, and I'm ready now to just commit even more, to be even more sort of strenuous and really put myself into it even more. And now the money's starting to come, that I can start sort of getting more time in again with my coaches, and we can take it to the next level.
Yeah. Greg, anything you want to end off on after that?
No, just thanks for all the support, Minnie, and I just want to shout out to all the MMA guys that come in. That I dragged some guys in. I sent some texts out just after we come back to training and said, you interested in helping out? And the guys was in a heartbeat, and there was guys that I trusted and guys that I knew that would give Mason the push. And like you've always said, outside of one or two of the camps he done in the US, this is the hardest one he's done. So that's just a credit to those guys who've come in. And I told them tonight when we just finished training tonight, thank you for this. You know, you deserve a massive pat on the back for helping out. But they was more happy just to come in and learn as well. So thanks to those boys as well, because they've kind of helped me as a coach. They've helped Mason as a fighter, and they've also helped us prepare for the future contests as well, which is going to be around the corner, hopefully, when COVID pisses off, you know.
Yeah. Mate, Greg, we can't wait to see you back in there again. Mate, just want to say shout out to your Wi-Fi for pulling it together towards the last 25 minutes. I think we got it back on track. We had a bit of a slow start, but
there's about 100 people in his house all on the Wi-Fi. That's the problem. That's the issue. I think if dad, off, he'll be fine.
I think his dad must have put a pound in the meter, Greg. So we
yeah.
Well, guys, I just want to say a big thank you once again. A big shout out to our sponsor, Fight Fuel, and guys, we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.